This is the Presidential Management Fellowship webinar brought to you by the Office of Career and Student Development. And today's presentation will be with Ms. Mancarini, who is Director of Career Development in the Office of Career and Student Development at Elon Law.
Thanks, Dean Duncan. I'm excited to talk to our current 3Ls about the opportunity to apply for the Presidential Management Fellowship. And this is an opportunity that is a flagship leadership development program for those interested in entry-level positions who are currently seeking graduate degrees. So mostly lawyers, those getting master's degrees, doctoral degrees. And it is a program that's been around for over 30 years and is focused on developing incoming potential federal government leaders. It is administered by the Office of Personnel Management and is a 2-year appointment that you receive a full entry-level attorney salary, depending on what the scale is for the agency where you're appointed, full benefits, and 160 hours of formal interactive training focused on leadership and professional development. And at the end of your 2-year appointment, there is the opportunity to apply to convert what you have as a fellow to a permanent position with the agency to where you've been assigned. You are eligible to apply for the PMF program if you have completed an advanced degree from a qualifying college or university during the prior 2 years from the opening date of the annual application announcement. This year, the announcement was made in the summer, but the application will actually open on October 9th, and we'll talk about those dates in just a moment on the next slide. Eligibility is based on the completion of your advanced degree requirements by August 31st of the year following the application opening. So our current 3Ls would be eligible because they'll be graduating in December prior to that August 31st deadline. In terms of the timeline for the current PMF application, the application will open at noon Eastern Time on October the 9th, and it will be available on usajobs.gov. Students can log in to that website and simply type Presidential Management Fellowship as keywords to find the application. Applicants will submit materials and complete a full battery of online assessments, which we'll also talk about in a future slide what those look like. This is a very short application window, as it is each year. It's only open until October 22nd, and the application will close at noon Eastern Time on that date. In late October and early November, after applicants have been assessed for their eligibility for the program, whether or not the school from which they will or have graduated is appropriately accredited, and claims for veteran preference and Indian preference, which is for students and applicants who are of Native American heritage. In mid-November, based on the scores of all the assessments that have been completed of all applicants, as well as each agency workforce planning estimate and previous program statistics and trends, finalists will be selected and announced. What's a little bit different about the PMF program from other government agency applications is that being a finalist does not automatically guarantee you a position. And we'll talk about what that means in just a moment. In terms of application tips, these are actually straight from the Office of Personnel Management. You are encouraged to read the announcement and the Become a PMF section of the website, which you can find at www.pmf.gov. There is a plethora of information about prior applications and the current application. You are encouraged to not apply late, in part because I believe applications are reviewed on a rolling basis, so you don't want to miss the opportunity for an agency that's interested to see you as a candidate, and because the whole process can take over 3 hours to complete in terms of preparing all of your documents and completing the online assessments. It's recommended because of the way that the government servers work that you, in creating your applicant user account, do not use an EDU email address, that you use a personal email address. But very important, make sure that your personal email address is one you will check and also one that is professional. So I would recommend something like your first.lastname@gmail.com or something like that. Make sure that you check the system and browser requirements for your application materials and your online assessment before you get started, because some of them are timed and you don't want to have a problem once you've started the timer and run out because you're having technological issues. They have very specific transcript requirements for the application you will submit. You must be sure that the transcript you submit, it can be unofficial, but it must contain your name as the applicant, Elon University's name, what the qualifying advanced degree program is. So for us, it will be a Juris Doctor program, and the date the degree will be conferred or anticipated. If your unofficial transcript does not contain all of that information, you must provide a letter from the registrar, Ms. Law, that identifies all the missing elements from your transcript. So you would submit a transcript plus this letter that has all the elements not on the transcript, that's on Elon University School of Law letterhead, signed by the appropriate person, and in this case that would be our registrar, Ms. Law. What is the assessment process for the PMF? What they are looking for in all of the materials that you will be submitting are these key skills and competencies. How adaptable are you? What are your critical thinking skills? How have you demonstrated integrity in law school and before? What interpersonal skills do you have in terms of your ability to collaborate and communicate with other people? What is your motivation to serve in the federal government? What are your problem-solving skills, and how good of a written communicator are you? What is your writing like? And that will be mostly assessed from the essays that you'll be preparing. We'll talk about in just a moment. Prior to the application launching on USA Jobs on October 9th, an assessment preparation guide will be posted on the PMF website for your review that provides more detailed information about what those looking at your application will be seeking. So part 2 of the assessment process is that all applicants will, in addition to submitting their resume and transcript, will take an online assessment, and there are timed sections. The first is the situational judgment battery, and that is asking you to address how you would respond in given situations. You won't know what those situations are, though, until you start the assessment. So again, it will be timed. It's not proctored, but it is timed. But there is also a life experience battery. These are questions focused on your work and education experiences and what competencies, strengths, and issues you've overcome based on your prior experiences, as well as the critical thinking battery. These are multiple choice questions focused on identifying what type of critical thinking you are able to complete. And finally, there are 2 online essays. I believe you'll get more information about the prompts for those in that PMF guide we mentioned in the last slide. So if you are selected as a finalist, what comes next? And you again would find that out approximately in mid-November. Being selected as a finalist is not a guarantee of employment with any federal agency. What it means is that you are eligible for appointment as a fellow with a participating federal agency. Those agencies are still being identified, and you probably won't see the list until after you're selected as a finalist. The way it works is that there are in-person hiring events and agency webinars that will take place throughout 2019 leading up to August, so that finalists who've been selected can apply for appointment to federal agencies that have openings for fellow placements. This is something that changes every single year depending on what the needs are. Based on some information I've received from the Office of Personnel Management, there is a large shift away from legal opportunities and towards those who have some scientific background. That doesn't mean there aren't attorney jobs available. It just means that number has come down in the prior years based on the federal government's current workforce needs. This is a wonderful opportunity for 3Ls who are interested in federal government employment to pursue that. And just so you know, we have had several Elon Law students who've been selected for the PMF program. Not only have they been finalists, but they've ended up getting a fellowship placement at multiple government agencies. So OPM is familiar with Elon as an institution. And as a reminder, the application for you to participate will be available on usajobs.gov starting on October 9th at noon Eastern Time. Again, you'll search for the keywords Presidential Management Fellowship. And for more information about this program and all of the information you'll need to complete a successful application, you can visit www.pmf.gov. If you have any questions, please feel free to stop by open office hours to meet with Dean Duncan or me to discuss your application. We look forward to working with you on this project.
Thank you, Ms. McCraney, for this very informative webinar, and we encourage students to check out our other webinars on our YouTube channel and check out the Career Resources Library on Simplicity for many other resources about applications and preparing for applications and interviews. We wish you luck. Thank you.